Hi, so I'm Robin Eastman. I'm one of the co-founders of VersaTackle. We're a platform for online events and meetings, and we prioritize accessibility, equity, and justice. So basically, we're trying to create a space on the internet where people can come together like this, where we're really putting first what is going to bring everybody into the room and center marginalized people. So we all know what it's like to exist in a space that centers a small sliver of the population that happens to be cis, het, straight, tall, white men. And some of us have been able to experience what it's like to be in a space that prioritizes us if we don't fit that mold. And some of us have had the opportunity to be in spaces that prioritize somebody who is not us, and how exciting it is to experience that and to be able to see people really become comfortable, and the sharing that that empowers and uplifts. So that's what we're looking to create. We have a platform that is fully functional. It doesn't have all of the bells and whistles, and it will never have all of the features we want. And there's no such thing as creating perfect accessibility. So that's where we're at, and I would love to hear people's questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Robin. Perfect example of how to do the game, right? And so I'm going to actually start off with a question, and then if you have a question for Robin, please raise your hand. But here's my sort of question slash curiosity, right? Conveniently enough, I met you last session and had an opportunity to subsequently introduce your platform to a community I'm volunteering with who's organizing an event and was looking for a platform. So I was like, hey, you should check out this platform. It would be really interesting. And one of the questions that came up was, you know, how does this platform sort of stand in comparison to, I think, what a lot of people are used to, which is the Zoom space, and why might somebody really choose to use your platform instead of Zoom as their sort of way of gathering their virtual community?
So there's a couple different answers to that. One is how it prioritizes welcoming people in. So we have pronouns built in. You don't have to adjust your name to include your pronouns. And that does more than just share pronouns. That tells people whose pronouns aren't she or he that they are welcome and that they are wanted. We also use a dyslexic friendly font, which tells people who have dyslexia that they're wanted. And I believe we're the only platform in existence that uses a dyslexic friendly font for closed captions. We're also less hierarchical than Zoom, so there's a lot more ability for people to move themselves around. You can change which breakout room you're in without coordinating with a host. You can create your own rooms. You can have hallway chats where you say, hey, Natalie, I'd love to have a one-on-one. Can you join me? I'll create a room for it. So we have that kind of flexibility. We also have a little bit more color. And we're trying to create a different sort of space. So if you want to be one of the people who's helping us make this platform more like that, it's definitely not perfect at this point, but that's what we're building towards. So people who are excited to host their events there and help us make this space significantly better than Zoom should come do their events with us.
Cool. Thank you, Robin. And I see, June, you have your hand up for a question for Robin, so go for it.
So, Robin, I was really intrigued. Can you tell me what a dyslexic friendly font is, or the name of that font, because I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, there are several out there. The one we use is Open Dyslexic because it's open source and available. And we did send some money to the creator because we believe in supporting people who are doing that work. So what it does is it makes sure none of the letters are fully symmetrical. So one of the things that's really hard for if you're dyslexic is D's, P's, Q's can all look like the same letter just rotated, which is really hard for dyslexic people to read. So in a dyslexic friendly font, those are not all symmetrical. There's also more weight at the bottom of the letters, helping you keep alignment towards the bottom of it. It's not a cure-all for dyslexia. I've talked to dyslexic people who are like, yeah, I still am dyslexic when I see that font. But it does help some people be able to read a little bit better.
Just a quick follow-up. Can you put the link to that font or that font website in the chat?
Absolutely. Also, fun fact, the best font for people that's in most font packages is Comic Sans, which I know gets made fun of a lot, but it's actually a lot easier for people to read, in part because of that lack of symmetry. And a lot of the reasons that people don't like it aesthetically are reasons it helps make it so dyslexic people can read it.
Cool. Great question, June. First timer, I appreciate that. And Robin, wonderful demonstration of how this all happened. So last question before we go on to our next presenter, and that is, what is one thing that 1 Million Cups can help you, Robin, with in your business?
So exactly what you did, Mathew, of showing our platform to people who might be excited to use it, whether or not they buy it. That's really helpful. We do have options for people to use it for free. Accessibility is really important. So we want to make sure it's accessible to people, even if they can't pay us for it. Though we do like it when people pay us for it, because that's how we keep going. So connecting us to people who want to use it, giving us feedback so we can make it even better. And then also we are starting to explore opportunities for grants or angel investors. So if you know somebody who would be really excited to invest in a platform that really focuses on accessibility and equity, we would love to talk to those people.
Cool. Thank you so much. So if you know a resource for Robin, please, Robin, if you can make sure to put your contact info into the chat. And we'll be able to reach you and find you and look at the platform and enjoy the experience. So great job, Robin. Fabulous work. Who would like to go next today? Who's next in queue? Go ahead and just raise your hand or raise your voice. There we go. Natalie, you're next. All right.
I just had a feeling like just do it.
I mean, in my like subconscious is like Natalie. It's like waiting for you, Natalie. So, all right, let me set the timer.
I've been practicing the pitch for my whole business in the last couple of weeks. So this is like cool timing. So I'll practice on you guys, and I would just love feedback on like, oh, I resonate. I mean, it's probably not going to be, you're not necessarily my target market, but you can give me feedback. So
all right, let me hit that timer and hit it.
Okay. So I run a fractional CFO firm, and we focus on helping businesses scale. So anywhere from $1 million to 20 million in revenue, we help you figure out, are you going to get ready for a full-time CFO, or are you going to sell? And our unique value proposition is that we work with businesses that have some sort of unique aspect to that business. So that can be trying to figure out a challenging business model, hiring all part-time staff, or it can be the actual way you're going to generate revenue. Could be very conflicting, what would see seemingly conflicting revenue streams, or you're going to hire an entirely offshore team. Or it can be an innovative product that no one's really seen in the market before. So that's what we focus on. Our primary services are fractional CFO support. So that's basically, if you're not familiar with a CFO, it's hiring a part-time financial officer to help with your long-term strategy. And then we also do project-based support as well. I'm done. Perfect time.
Perfect. Beautiful timing. So I know I have a question and perhaps a suggestion per your request, since you did request the suggestion piece. But before I take the lead on it, does anybody have a burning question they want to ask Natalie? Burning, and I see some fire in some eyes over there. Is there somebody that wants to?
I'm going to ask something really quick. And I have the advantage of having talked to Natalie previously. So, but I'm just curious, as far as your focus, when you talk about these unique situations, does that mean that if, let's say that I had a business, there was nothing unique about it, like it was a very, very standard business, pretty straightforward, that would be, I would be somebody that you would refer to a different CFO, or and you have like CFOs that do that you could refer me to?
100%. Yeah. Okay. So we're priced to be in that scaling mode, and it costs more because we're high touch. And there's plenty of CFOs that are really good at the strategy for businesses that are maybe very straightforward and can still provide you that. But they're going to be lower cost and fit your business a little bit better.
Okay, good. So
Or
that means,
your referrals, but I like talking to anybody, so you can send them my way.
okay, good. So I guess that's my point, is that sometimes the definition of unique can be, a little bit ambiguous. So,
Yeah.
so basically you could, if someone needs a CFO, you're not sure if you're the right fit, you're happy to talk to them, and then you can always direct them to somebody else if they're not quite as unique as they need to be.
Yes,
Okay, good.
absolutely. I also think the definition of unique, it hits people differently.
Mhm.
So like, for example, I just talked to a business owner that runs, it's like a premium food product. And that's not super unique, but the way she's running it is she uses all like outsourced support. So she's basically gonna do nothing. So she's only a marketing company, really. She's not actually building the product or producing it. She's kind of figured out the outsourcing. That's unique to me, like that you're doing your business in a different way. There's loose definitions. And then there's people that are doing like very innovative products or combining like a SaaS model with an accounting firm. Yeah. But I like talking to anybody. You send them my way.
And June, I see your hand up again, so go for it.
So Natalie, I understood. It was so cool. But what's your background as did you create, are you part of a group, or are you the founder of this? And CFO, this is a really big job that you're describing that you do. So I just love a little background.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm the owner of the firm. I started it in late 2020. I worked in corporate finance for a little while before that. I have an MBA in finance. And then before all of that, I worked as an investment manager at the Gates Foundation. So I was in finance adjacent roles before getting a degree in finance and then being in corporate finance. But I just really loved working directly with CEOs of businesses that were kind of solving complex problems. And what's so cool about the fractional, which is like really just a fancy word for part-time, is you don't need a full-time finance officer in your company until you're pretty large. Like you can get to 20, maybe depending on the type of business, maybe 30 million in annual revenue before you need that. Because I mean, even when I worked at Starbucks, I managed $1 billion P&L, and my boss was essentially the equivalent of a CFO to that group with 12 people underneath him. So a bit different, bigger, but you can get pretty far with that if you have the right systems and processes set up. And so we kind of come in and are a cheaper way to have that support without hiring a full-time staff member.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Cool, thank you. Now, Robin, do you have a question or comment for Natalie before we? Okay, great. So let's hear yours, and then we'll move on to the next group. And go for it, Robin.
Yeah, so you said you're interested in like unusual situations.
Yeah.
Have you ever helped an organization become a co-op, or that was a co-op? And have you thought about any of the kind of different models for
what I'm not
organization?
actually familiar with what you would call, like, the only, when I hear co-op, I think of PCC. That's my own. Is that the same thing that you're talking about?
So it is the same thing, but like REI is a scaled co-op.
Yes, I haven't. I've worked with a B Corp. But yes, that would fit in, like we would figure it out. I think the other thing that's coming up in a lot of the businesses are, hey, we're a for-profit company, but we want to like spin off a nonprofit, or we want to make sure that we have a certain amount of charitable donations to this cause that we think about. So we do a lot of that strategy. But I'd love to follow up and learn more about your co-op model that you're thinking through. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. And I just want to highlight the chat is popping with some good stuff. So make sure you're clicking on the links. I gave you a tip, Natalie, in there, my tip for you, which
Great.
I'll save for later.
Thanks.
And also, I just want to note that June made a request for support around her LinkedIn profile. So if you want to take a look and check that request out, if anybody knows anybody who could help June out, that would be super awesome. With that, last question for you, Natalie, before we go on to our next presenter. Who might that be? Right, Natalie, what is the one thing that 1 million cups can do for you?
Well, you already did it. You guys just like listened to my pitch. That was so exciting. It was nice to just do that in a very like calming environment. So I feel very full today. Thank you for that. One thing I'm working on the side is I created a blog. I won't do a whole pitch on it. I'll put it in the notes, but I would love feedback on that because the goal is to meet business owners that don't have a knowledge of finance to understand it and kind of get maybe a little spark of joy from learning about it. Not as much as joy as I get, but a little bit. So I'll put that in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, put the link in the chat will be useful. All right, thank you, Natalie. So who would like to go? Huba, I see your hand went up. Hit it, my friend. And then we'll do Huba and then we'll do Syed, okay?
All right, so my name is Huba Rostonics. I go by the Channel Meister online, and I'm a business management consultant / fractional business operations executive. But I specialize mostly in resale and distribution networks and also customer success practices. So have you thought about expanding your business through a network of partners, or are you looking into selling an as a service or subscription offer? So I'm looking for client number 2. Ideally, I'm looking for mid-sized companies or well-funded startups, but that could use help in those areas. But I'm really open to connect and share ideas with anybody here, right? And love to do that. There's a couple of things that I would like to tell you about, also something that I publish daily, but we'll save that for later, okay?
All right, and you still have like 20 seconds left, so you can squeeze something in if you want to put any extra there.
No, I will go with the questions.
All right, cool. Awesome. So Natalie, I saw your hand wave. So why don't you do your first?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I may have missed the first 10 seconds of that, but my question is, do you have when you think about your ideal customer, do you have that profile in mind?
Yeah, so what I'm looking for, since I specialize in distribution networks and resale, right? What I'm looking for is for companies that are looking to expand that way, okay, through partners, not selling directly, but going through partners. And that requires, many companies make the mistake of just bringing on a partner and just running with it. It's great, it starts off wonderfully, but the thing is it cannot scale that way. You need to think really about how you're going to engage with those partners, how you're going to grow that, how you set up an environment where more partners can join, right? So what is the contractual framework? What is the incentive framework? How do you set up your pricing? How do you set it up in such a way that you don't compete with your own partners? That would be stepping on your own foot and things like that. So that's my ideal situation. But lately, I also have been finding that a lot of companies are moving into this space where they are trying to set up a business, move their business from basically selling products that are sold, in big chunks to selling them in an as a service basis, right? Or on a subscription basis. And one of the things that really bites them in the back, when they do that, they don't understand in the beginning, is that whenever you have a business like that, you may be selling on the front end a lot of things, but you may be also losing a bunch of subscription on the back end because there's attrition. Customer success becomes a business imperative in those business models, because if not, you're just spinning your wheels. So, helping companies in that transformation, or businesses through that transformation, is also something that I do.
Very cool.
Cool, thank you. Huba, I have a question for you. And I'll offer my feedback to Natalie in the form of a question to you. So it's a 2-for-1 deal, right? Because I think what often helps is like if you tell a customer success story that like paints the picture of like, here's how the customer came to me, here's what the problems were, and then we did these 3 things, and then this was the impact on their business, right? Can you give me maybe like even if it's a made up customer to protect their identity or whatever, but can you give me sort of a customer success story that talks about like how they came in, what you did with them, and what the impact was on their business?
Okay, so that's a great question, and it brings light onto something, Mathew, and it's that when I'm talking about customer success, you know, we may be talking about two different things, right? One of the things is what is the value that I provide as a you know, as a professional, right? And that may be when you have a partner ecosystem that it's well built, you may be making 3 times as much revenue as selling direct. Okay, that's the value that I bring. Okay, and that addresses sort of your question. But when I talk about customer success, I'm talking about my clients providing or having a customer success practice downstream to their customers. And what it means is that you are really engaging with your customers to making them successful by using your products. And that's very different from the philosophy that we had until now, which is I'll sell you a product and I make sure that that product works well, right? It works the way it was planned to do or designed to do, right? Instead of that, I'm really engaging with your business and making sure that you're getting value out of that, of using my product. By doing that, I'm pretty sure that you're never gonna cancel the subscription. You know, if you are, let's say you subscribe to Netflix, right? And you never find a movie that you can watch, you'll cancel that thing the next month, right? So what they do? They push you movies that you like, right? So that's a very simple example of extracting value of a product. So what do? You just keep that subscription going. That's customer success. It's very different from customer support or customer, so that's basically what I help businesses to go through that transformation that implies, many things, having right processes, etc.
Yeah,
right?
thank you.
I'll shut up right
Now,
now.
and if you could make sure to put your info in the chat too, I'd like to check out your website.
Let me tell you one thing.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm writing daily, okay, and I write mostly about purpose, process, innovation, leverage, and leadership. All right. I call it the daily pill. That's what it comes out of the spelling too. It's available on my website, on LinkedIn, and on Medium. And if you follow me on Medium, it will really help because I'm trying to get to that magic 100 subscribers. Okay. So thank you. All right. Good.
Awesome. Now, Robin, is your question for Huba, and is it a concise question? Because we need to get through 2 more people before we right. So I invite you to ask your question, Robin, and Huba maybe respond in short, and then you can do a follow-up with Robin. It's perfect.
I'll just keep this really concise. Huba, I was really excited after Mathew asked your question to hear a story, and what I heard was an explanation. So you don't really need to respond, but I really invite you to think, how can you tell a story that will pull people in? Because you lose me when you give it. Your explanation was good, but you still, you didn't pull my heart in, you didn't pull my attention. So I invite you to think in stories.
I actually coach people to do that. And I made the same mistake. Thank you.
So funny. All right. Thank you, Robin, for that invitation, Huba. Yes, and you are invited, Huba, to pull Robin's heartstrings. She's asked for it. All right. So please share contact info in the chat. Now, Syed, I'm going to invite you to step forward. I'm going to set the timer. And we'll do 2 responses, and then June, I know you're new with us today, so I'd love to create some space for you to be our final guest presenter if you're open to that. Okay, great. So Syed, I'm going to go for you next. All right, my friend, I'm setting the timer in 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm at my mom's house where I played basketball since I was a teenager. Right here, if you can see the hoop. But kind of an interesting day for me, beautiful day. So I do tech. I'm a software developer and I set up tech. So Examples, good story. Recently, close by, business close by, has been in business about 40 years. We set up a way for them to actually automate their IT support. They had a number of IT support issues. Luckily, they were connected to a server on a LAN. They had 2 locations using the same subnet through a firewall bridge. We separated the 2, put them on 2 different subnets, which isolated each problem for each location. And they had 2 public IPs, and by that we were able to isolate any incidents they had. And also we created logs on regular problems that they were facing. And so that helped to reduce a lot of their problems and their calls for IT support and things like that, cut their costs, etc. We also have done a lot of other things. We set up tech. One of the things we love to do at Petra, I'll give you my information, is one of the things that we love to do is automate. So if there's something that we don't need to be spending a lot of hours and time on, and we have a process, a workflow, and we're able to automate that workflow, then we want to bring in, introduce the equipment to automate it. We develop Windows Server applications, web applications, mobile, whatever.
Cool. And we're at time, Syed, too. So,
That's
okay,
it.
cool, awesome. All right, groovy. So questions for our presenter.
That's
Hit him hard. He's ready for it. I heard a little storytelling, so I like that you gave us a little taste of that. So Natalie.
What's a subnet?
So one, if you're fishing, it's the net within a net.
Oh, okay.
That's all. No, I'm joking.
That makes so much sense.
I'm
Yeah.
joking. No, it's
Oh, dang it. I'm like, that makes sense. But then, it's funny in my head, I'm like, did I miss something? Because I swear this wasn't about fishing. So then I just thought like, oh, I just told
I meant
the whole
fishing like an F,
presentation,
not
but-
H. No, all it is, it's just a way to separate a network. So if you have hey,
yeah.
you're the brains in the room. So you and Dan and Matt, of course, and everybody actually has brains. But long story short, hey, it's just me. Long story short. Okay, what's the mail? So so I'm saying, no, I'm on a meeting, Mama. Anyway, but anyway, so like you have an organization. A lot of people, I use this all the time, but so you have like an organization. So then you have a sales department, finance department, your IT department, blah blah blah. So they're actually separated into different computers. So they don't talk to each other. So within the LAN itself, within that set of computers itself, they actually are blocked from accessing each other. Only like an IT administrator can come in and get into all of them. So it's just a way to separate out a network. That's it.
So, but it is a net within a net. So you weren't completely false. It just had nothing to do with fishing.
That's funny. I love that. All right. So Dan, I'm going to let you ask the last question, and then I want to make sure we allocate the remaining time for June's presentation. So Dan, ask your final question.
Yeah. I know that you do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
What's an example of something that people might consider tech that you do not do?
Oh, something that I don't do?
Yeah, as an example.
A lot. Within the computer realm?
Yeah.
I do not, within the computer realm, there's a lot of languages I don't code in. And I do not work with Mac, and I do not work with Apple. No. Linux,
good to know.
Yes. Windows, yes. Mac, Apple.
No bueno. No bueno. Good to know.
That way.
Okay.
That way.
All right, weird. All right, Dan. So thank you for your presentation today. That's amazing. I want to take the rest of the time to spend some time with June, because June is a new community member for us. And so June, welcome. I'm passing the mic to you. Give us your 60 seconds, and then we'll take some time to ask you some questions before we close out our session today. Over to you, June.
Thank you so much. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of your community today. I'm a homemaker, I'm an entrepreneur, and I co-founded organicnearby.com, which is a search engine for shoppers like myself who are health conscious and sustainably focused to easily identify and access fresh, local, and organic food sources in our community. And we help the farmer by giving them a free marketing channel, your local farmers. We help the shopper by putting all the farms and even grocery stores that carry organic foods on web platform. And we help every community by enabling a circular economy for the food dollars. And let's see, and I need help. I'm really non-technical, although I'm getting sort of technical about what my category is that I'm creating, because every time I have to fill something out, it says, what's your category? And I always, like right now, I do other.
Got it. All right. Well, June, thank you for joining us. And my first gut reaction, my first question is, when are you going to be presenting at 1 million cups? Because it sounds like you'd have a good business to present at 1 million cups. So just flagging that. But let's open up the floor for questions. Who has questions for June about her business, her customers, or a response to even perhaps this idea of how are you hearing her category? Dan, over to you.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the category. However, I'm wondering how you support this platform, because I'm hearing, like a search engine, it essentially it's like a search feature. And do you have like affiliate partners? Do you have advertisement? Is there a subscription? How do you generate revenue?
Well, we're in the pre-revenue stage, but we have affiliates, and we have advertisements. In fact, I'm trying to figure out the design for our advertisement banner on the website. We have 4,000 farms, and I'm not sure about this. Well, I know over 200,000 products on our site. We're local everywhere. So if you go on Organic Nearby now, you can probably find lots of farms, small farms in your area, and you just search the products. And if you want to include grocery stores, because we don't always have access to local farm food because of our climate, you can search organic food in your grocery store.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, June, and then we'll have to close up in just a moment. What inspired you to start this business? What's your personal connection?
Gosh, that is, I love that question. I'm like the wife of a starving artist. My husband is a potter. We have a lot of kids. Now we have a lot of grandkids. I'm always cooking. And so I'm always looking for the best, freshest food to cook with, to make my dishes delicious. And I can't, it was really hard for me to afford organic food. And like, I was always checking different websites, and you can't even find the products from local farms. So yeah, COVID came and I was stuck at home for 2 years with my husband, who's always home because he's a potter. He used to be a tech guy. He was a futurist. And now we're back to the future, people. Oh, that's it.
I love it. All right, June. Well, thank you. Huba, I see you have your hand up. You're the final question, and then we'll close the meeting.
Thank you, Mathew. So, June, how do you support that business or the initiative? Is it what do you sell? You sell advertising. Do you have a revenue stream?
No, I don't have any revenue stream yet. I got early advice is to forget. I have the business canvas with the channels and everything. And we do have food hubs. We have food hub that found us and said they offered us 5% of the profit that they make off of all of their sales. And so there are many food hubs and we have them on our website. So I've been just actually bootstrapping this. Everybody's worked for free for 2 years.
Yeah.
And we're just redesigning our site now and planning a go-to-market. I figure it's a journey.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, if I'm here, if you want to bounce off some ideas,
Oh, thank you so much.
you know,
Yay.
remember the journey that you set off on a sailboat, it is not determined by the wind, but
Mm.
you need the wind to push the sailboat where you're
Yeah.
going, right? So it's a necessary thing, right? So that's why I asked. All right. Good stuff.
I love it. And I appreciate, I picked up immediately when you said it's not going direct, but the people that you partner with. And I'm
Mhm.
like partnering with all these farms.
Mm.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, we do need to close out, so I'm going to cut you all off. Unfortunately, June, again, thank you for being here. I'm going to encourage you to actually present at 1MC. So all you need to do to apply, I think, Dan, you put in some information in there, is that you're trying something new and you want feedback. Thank you, Huba, for demonstrating the opportunity that is created by being a source for listening and being present and asking questions, and now you're connecting. And so, June, this is the kind of environment where you can ask for help to get the help that you need and learn something by sharing and doing and being in this space. So please consider applying to present. And then also, I encourage you to bring friends with you, right? We are stronger together as a community. And so look in your roster of people who you know who might want to connect to other entrepreneurs that are connected to the Seattle ecosystem to get the resources they need to grow their business and expand their networks, and bring them, because it helps all of us. And with that, I'm going to stop my share because we are complete for the day. Thank you, everyone.